welcome to Contemporary Black Voices, where we examine issues surrounding and within the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell, and with me today are New York Times bestseller Caleb Alexander, community activist and entrepreneur Chris Dawkins, and author and screenwriter Fred Williams. With anti-DEI laws being mandated in red states, we can expect an uptick in more microaggressions against Black people. Microaggressions are broken down into three categories: microassaults, micro-insults, and micro-invalidations. Micro-insults are the more obvious and deliberate discriminatory behaviors such as cashier purposely skipping over a Black customer in line, telling a racist joke, or wearing a t-shirt with a Confederate flag on it. Micro-insults and micro-invalidations, on the other hand, tend to be unconscious, unintentional, and less obvious. Recently, Dr. Claudine Gay, the first Black woman to serve as president of Harvard University, faced micro-assaults from a nationally televised congressional hearing concerning student protest issues between Israel and Hamas, and later concerning her scholarly credibility associated with plagiarism allegations. She finally resigned from that position. Dr. Candia Bailey, who served as Lincoln University's Vice President of Student Affairs, committed suicide after the Missouri University's president, who was white, John Mosley, terminated her employment in the days before her death. Bailey also said she had been feeling depressed and unsupported at work. Black women in academia often face disproportionate roadblocks and discrimination with little or no protections from the institutions. In addition, Black men experience microaggressions in academia, oftentimes, for example, referring to they look like an athlete, particularly within, again, our education context. So let's get this discussion going. You and I had an off-camera discussion about Dr. Bailey. What were your thoughts when you read about her suicide?
I mean, to me, it was compounded, especially after the issues with Dr. Gay, and then hearing about Dr. Candia Bailey. It seemed like it was a compounded issue where you had it's a constant assault on very, very, very visible Black women in higher education. And so my initial thoughts, I mean, I was upset about it. I mean, I was through the roof about it. And it's something that's, it seems like it's something that's being ratcheted up a little bit. You recently had the resignation of Annette Gordon-Reed, who was one of the preeminent scholars. She was on the board, the Jefferson Board for Monticello. And so she was forced out by a white woman who they made president, whose resume could not touch Dr. Reed's resume at all. And so you see these high profile attacks occur right now against the sisters. And so, you know, my thoughts and my reactions is very upset.
You know, when we start talking about these anti-DEI laws, now we're going to see anti-Black hiring. Now, when we go back to Dr. Bailey's situation, Dr. Mosley, who was appointed president of Lincoln University, which is an HBCU, was white, and really only his resume basically boasted of him being the head basketball coach. Whereas Dr. Bailey, she was obvious that she was working her way up the line of command to probably get that position. And so we're seeing where no matter how hard we work to move up the line of command, there's always something that cracking that glass ceiling becomes harder and harder, not only for Black men, but also for Black women. Fred, you've been in higher education. What have you seen when you were working at the institutions?
I really didn't. I didn't see that at all. But most of my experience, well, Harvard is up north too. I really didn't. I had a problem because of the way I taught in Northwest Vista College and at UTSA. Those folks don't want you to teach Black students to be proud of who they are. I experienced it. And we even had a hard time getting a Black Studies program at UTSA. They didn't want it. Thanks to Richard Gambetta, Dr. Gambetta, we're able to get it. It became so bad at UTSA, it was in the political science department. Chair told me, he says, I'm not going to let you teach any more Black history courses. So you're just going to teach American government and Texas government. And I quit. I quit because I know what they were doing. So on the other hand, I haven't really experienced at that level. I was only faculty. I was adjunct faculty. So that would be something I probably couldn't comment on. But I'm wondering, in your opening statement, how could the president of, did you say University of Missouri?
Lincoln.
No, but you say that person didn't give her the promotion or something? Was somebody at University of Missouri?
No, the way I understand it was that Dr. John Mosley was appointed president of Lincoln University. Now, and he's white and was head basketball coach. Now, I think that a lot of the discussions that I've seen on LinkedIn was the fact that, first of all, HBCUs have a tradition that only a Black person can appreciate. Yes, they've got other cultural groups out there, but historically, HBCUs have a tradition that we know how to how to express and appreciate it. And they put this white man head over an HBCU. He's not associated with any, he may not be associated with any of the Divine Nine organizations. He really doesn't understand the culture. And you know, Denzel Washington made a statement, and I'm going to paraphrase it, that Steven Spielberg, because he's Jew, was able to really do what could have been done in Schindler's List. Michael Jaworski, who's Italian, was able to do a lot of the Italian mafia movies because he understands the nature of that group. Then he says, Black people, we understand what a hot comb going through our hair on a Sunday morning smells like. So we're able to direct those type of movies because we have a cultural understanding. And so they put this white man whose resume looked nothing like Dr. Bailey's and not giving her the support that she needed to be more successful on her job. I think it's because he didn't understand what he was doing.
So let me ask this. Are you making an argument for exclusivity? That only Blacks can be in these positions at Black universities? Is that the argument you all are making?
That's the argument I'm using.
So with Dr. Bailey was a graduate of Lincoln. And so she also.
So you're going away from what I asked. You're going somewhere.
Well, it's not a yes or no question, Senator. But
Yes or no question.
No, but she was a I feel like I'm being here. But look, she was a graduate of Lincoln, right? She's an alumnus. She also had a master's degree from another HBCU and a PhD from A&T, I believe it was, from another HBCU. So she has a tradition of attending HBCUs. She's an alumnus. She had an affiliation with this university. They passed her up and promoted this white boy. He was a coach who has no affiliation with any HBCUs besides being a basketball coach. This sister should have been president of this university.
Go back to
so to answer your original questions, I believe that these institutions today should have administration and basically presidents that look like the student body.
Okay.
Yes.
So should all white universities do the same thing?
They do it now, pretty much.
No. Should they do the same thing?
We just watched them run the sister out of that position.
No. I'm asking you, you're saying, you're making an argument exclusivity based on race
I am.
and
I am.
culture.
And the reason I'm making that argument is
can
because
white folks make the same argument?
no, they can't.
Why?
Because
Why?
the situation and circumstances are different. White folks didn't endure what we endured in this country.
Okay.
So the situation is completely different. Yes, we need institutions that look like the administrations and institutions that look like us.
Okay, but
So that our
they
kids
can make the same argument.
no, it's not, because their kids
Why can't they?
because of the power dynamics are different. Here, in order to, it's important for black kids to see a university professor. It's important for black kids to see a university president.
Maybe it's
The power dynamic is
white
completely
kids see a
different.
white president.
They see it all the time. They see it for the last 200 plus
Well,
years.
maybe they should keep. Maybe they think they should keep seeing it.
Now, Fred, I'm not going to even.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to agree with your argument.
I know you're not.
Because
I know you're not.
all these institutions have already had white people at the top of positions to where they're role models to their kids and stuff like that. HBCUs was a place to where we can opt to send our kids to see these people, see our faces in these power positions. But now, again, and I suspect a lot of it's because of the anti-DEI rules, that we're going to probably see more white folks put in president's positions in HBCUs. So I got to disagree with your argument because
How can you disagree with it?
because that has been, white people have been putting their people in high positions for years, for years.
Well, based on your argument, they should have.
No.
Well, let me say this.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
I think that the way HBCUs were started was because the white master had black kids, okay? And those mothers and even the white wife of the master wanted these kids to go someplace. And they couldn't go to the white universities, so they created the HBCUs for them to be able to go. So the whole premise of this was for them to go someplace that was by themselves and off from the white folks who they had their deal, and theirs at the time was only for those white folks only. So the HBCUs were supposed to only be for the black folks only. Now, what has happened is you will see, at least I've seen it, especially at Prairie View, where you've seen white kids, because of the cost of education, that are now starting to go to HBCUs as opposed to the other way around.
And they're considering themselves minorities.
They're considering themselves minorities.
They've got like special grants for minority students. And because they are the minority group within the student population group at that campus, they're getting in that way.
What are you saying then that? Because that's where it was in 1865, it just keep being that way in 2024?
I think it should because you've got a situation at the white schools where normally, especially at a place like a Harvard or someplace like that, that you're not going to have the same type of equal chance as you would at a black school.
So the white folks should be able to do the same thing.
No, they should not.
What?
They should not.
What is
So why have?
What is this? What is this?
I seen on Facebook,
Unequal.
I seen a professor post. He posted a meme on Facebook that said, if you let your enemies educate your kids, you're a fool. Was that your meme that you posted about letting white folks educate?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was your meme. Okay.
But that being said, we are going to go ahead and take a break and come back. Thank you.